So you have this 9 to 5 job that brings in the money, but does it bring in the joy? Maybe, but probably not. And you've probably seen entrepreneurs out here having the flexibility in their schedule, having to do all these interesting things because they're not stuck in an office from 9 to 5, aka the peak hours of the day. But also, you're probably wondering, there's no way I can stop my 9 to 5 because that brings in the money, and there's no way I have time to actually start a business while still working full-time, while having a family, while doing this, while doing that, and actually staying sane through the whole thing. Yeah, I've been there before, but if you've ever considered starting a business while still keeping your full-time job, I think the algorithm really helped you out on this one, because this is the perfect video for you. Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? My name is Maricruz. I'm an engineer, environmentalist, and entrepreneur. And in this channel, I show you how to build your small business while still working full-time. So I give you tips, insights, and tools for you to do this, as well as sharing my own journey as an entrepreneur while still working full-time. I actually started 3 businesses during my PhD in mechanical engineering, and I am currently a full-time engineer while running 2 small businesses. And the number one question, hands down, that I get every single day pretty much is, how do you do it all? And honestly, this got me thinking. And I think I got it. I think it comes down to doing these 3 things and doing them well and doing them often. So I'm excited to share those with you in this video. Okay, first step is to do a time audit, aka a reality check. This is where you're gonna find out how much time you actually have, because the second most common question I always get is, where do you find the time? And so you have to do this first step, because most people don't know where their time is going. The truth is, we have 168 hours a week. That's you, that's me, that's Beyonce, that's your weird Theo. Everybody has 168 hours per week. The difference is how we prioritize it. I actually read a book, 4,000 Weeks, and I made actually 3 videos from it because it was so good. I'm gonna link that playlist right here. But time is an interesting thing. It feels like we never have enough of it. But when you really sit down and look at where your time is going, it can be really helpful to figure out whether you have the time to start a business, right? Because it's not realistic to start it if you literally have 0 hours a week to dedicate to it. Okay, so we have 168 hours a week. That's the 7 days times 24. But obviously we're doing stuff during that time, right? So you're gonna subtract out, if you take 8 hours a day for sleeping times the 7 days, you have 56 hours for sleep. If you have a full-time job, then you subtract the 40 hours a week for that. Then you have to add in the commute time to your work. I'm gonna put 1 hour there and 1 hour back, just because that's what it takes me since I commute in a train. So that's 10 hours a week. And then I'm gonna include 3 hours of just life stuff, like showering, cooking, cleaning, eating. You need to eat. So 3 hours a week. I mean, not 3 hours a week, 3 hours a day to do life stuff. So that's 21 hours less a week, which means that you're actually left over with 41 hours per week to dedicate to your business. Yeah, 41. So that's more than a full-time job, right? So this was pretty eye-opening for me to do, especially because I felt like I had less, but when I did this, when I first started my full-time job, it was really eye-opening, because then it becomes a choice, right? I have these 41 hours. What do I want to do with them? And that's where the next tip comes in, because, okay, you have 41 weeks, but it's kind of hard to visualize it. And it's like, well, where can I put in the hours for this? And it depends on your business, and when do I socialize, and all these things, right? So these 41 hours a week are not going to be dedicated 100% to your business. Like, that's not my point here. My point is that you do have these 41 hours, and so how you choose to use them is really important. So there might be some other non-negotiables for you. For example, going to the gym, or doing yoga classes, or doing art classes, or whatever you do on your spare time for fun. You should include that in your non-negotiables, right? So if you're dedicating an hour a day to that, that's 7 hours less. So you no longer have the 41, right? So it's really going to depend on you, and it really is a great activity so that you see what you're spending your time on. Also, you have to look at your vices as well. So if you are a fellow Instagram reel scroller, like myself, go and audit your Instagram and see how much time you're spending. You can see that in the settings. You can see it in your phone settings as well, how much screen time you have a day. If you're a Netflixer, check that out too. I believe you can check it in your app, because if you're spending 3 hours a day on Netflix, wow, that sounded judgy. I'm not judging, but if you're spending 3 hours on Netflix, potentially you can put that into your calendar and block off that time if that's an essential for you, right? But maybe you can reduce it, right? Instead of 3 hours a day, maybe reduce it to an hour and a half a day of Netflix. And then boom, you just found an hour and a half extra to work on your business. So I hope by now you kind of get what this time audit is for. Now the tip here is to use Google Calendar or Notion Calendar, whatever calendar you'd like. You could do it on paper as well, and block out your whole week with time blocks. Now, this is not something you have to do every day. This is just to give you this idea of what your time is looking like every week. So here I have an example of my Google Calendar. I have wake up slowly, morning routine. This is kind of my non-negotiables, my commute, my full-time job, C-spine. So I have both of those in there. And then I have my train commute back. And you can see I have cooking, dinner, day debrief, all for myself. So really during the week, I only have 1 hour to dedicate to my business, this computer time block, because I do really respect my bedtime and my nighttime routine. So not a lot of work can be done for my business during the week, but you can see here Saturday and Sunday are completely open. That's when I usually do the bulk of my work. I also dedicate my train commute time to my business. So those 40 minutes that I'm on the train are for my business. And it's a total vibe just being on the train with my laptop. I love it. So that's an extra 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back that I dedicate to my business as well. And then you have the weekends. This is like gold time, right? Of whether you want to dedicate it to your business or not, that's up to you. So I have during the week 1 hour a day, right? And then the 40 minutes there, 40 minutes back. What is that? 1 hour and 20 minutes. So that's 2 hours and a half about, because I also sometimes I'm posting content during my break or whatever. So about an hour and a half a day during the week. So 1 hour and a half times 5, that is 7.5 hours a week. And then you have the weekends, right? So that's when it's really up to you how much time you want to dedicate. I've seen that what really works for me is about 10 to 15 hours for my business. I've seen other friends and other clients really find the sweet spot at that 10-hour a week, because you don't want to overwhelm yourself. You still want to have your life. You still want to have your volunteering if you do that, or your hobbies, right? You want to have time for all of that, and you want to have time to just do nothing, right? So don't forget to account for the nothing time. I have a whole video on how to properly create this Google Calendar, this ideal life Google Calendar. It's kind of an old video, honestly, so it's kind of cringe, but it's a lot of good information. I'll leave that linked right here. Step number 2 is to create time, aka time stacking. So as you saw, there are a lot of time blocks on my calendar that are non-negotiables, and there will be a lot of those on your calendar too. But that doesn't mean that you can't create more time within those time blocks. So think of things like the train, right? I have to commute to work, and instead of just looking out the window, I am dedicating those 40 minutes to my business. When I'm on breaks at work, I might go for a walk and put on a podcast of a certain skill that I'm trying to learn, right? If I'm trying to get better at email marketing, I put on podcasts about email marketing during my walks, or while I'm doing chores, or whatever, or where I'm exercising or something. That is what's called time stacking, right? You're doing something good for your body, for example, when you're taking a walk, but you're also learning. So you're still investing time in your business. Also, don't sleep on the networking events. Networking events can be super fun, and they could be with your friends, but still be related to your business. Also, think about volunteering events that could be also for your business. For example, I have volunteered with Surfrider for years, even before having my business, but now my sunscreen business, Sunmud, is aligned with Surfrider's values. So whenever I go to a networking event that is for my business, but it's also for my volunteering and it's my friends that I've built over the years. It's kind of like a three-way benefit. Win-win-win, right? Win-win-win. Yeah, win-win-win. I get to socialize with my friends, I get to have fun, and I get to build out my network for my business. And the third and final step is to define your why. Yes, this sounds cheesy, but honestly, it is one of the most important things that you have to do. It doesn't matter if you have all the time in the world. If you're not enjoying what you're doing for your small business, it is not going to work. And I can say that wholeheartedly. There's no such thing as just like pushing through it, because entrepreneurship is rough. Entrepreneurship will bring up things like even from like your childhood traumas, you know, like it's almost like a therapy. Like entrepreneurship really will bring it out of you. And if you're dedicating all your extra time to this thing that you don't want to do, it just literally is not going to work. So you have to find out so you have to make sure that you are building a business that you're passionate about, that you enjoy, that you're good at, because otherwise this is going to become just another job that you're not really enjoying, and you're going to burn out. You don't want to create something where you are going to your 9 to 5 and then all your extra time is going to another job that you don't enjoy, and then you're just miserable. Your whole life is miserable. So really, really, really take time to find a business that really aligns with your mission, with your purpose, with your reason of being in this world, because otherwise, no bueno. I actually have a whole video as well on how to find your why. I'm going to leave that linked right here. It's a good one, and it's going to help you really hone in on a business that's worth building. And just one more thing about this channel and me personally, I don't really subscribe to the idea of just making money quickly. That's not sustainable in my eyes. So really think about whether you're just trying to get extra cash and get extra cash quickly, because I don't think that's because it will like emotionally, physically for you if you still have a full-time job. But if you're really trying to build something out and see if it has potential, then go for it. And it's totally doable while still working full-time. Speaking of subscribing, you should probably subscribe to this channel where I put up a bunch of free resources for you to really help you with building your small business. Okay, so those are the 3 things you have to do in order to build your small business while working full-time. You're probably wondering, how often do I have to do this? Honestly, when there's a big life event that might change, your time audit, I would do it again. Same thing with creating time. That kind of goes hand in hand with your time audit. And defining your why really should be not that often, right? You kind of set that at the beginning of building your business, but it's always good to check in. Am I still passionate about it? Am I still enjoying what I'm doing? That is probably like a weekly thing that you should do. Well, I am really excited for you to start this journey. I will be sharing my journey as well in this channel so that we can do it together and really accelerate this process, right, of building this small business while still working full time. If you're still here, thank you. If you want to get all philosophical about time, I'm going to link this video here about time from a book called 4,000 Weeks. It really blew my mind, and I think it'll blow your mind as well. If not, until next week, don't forget, poquito goes a long way. Ciao!